Welcome to Hardly, where books turn into 3 stories, refreshing your knowledge in minutes. Today we study together the book Tightwads and Spendthrifts, Navigating the Money Minefield in Real Relationships by Scott Rick, in which we probe into how financial habits influence relationship quality and personal well-being, revealing the psychological tension between spending and saving. Scott Rick is a marketing professor at the University of Michigan's Ross School of Business, where he has won awards for research and teaching. Don't go away. Hardly, the editor, will be right back with the story. Today, let's dive into 3 captivating stories that illustrate the complex dance between saving and spending in personal relationships. The first story brings us to a young couple grappling with differing financial habits. The second shifts to a high-earning professional who faces unexpected guilt despite her success. The third story centers on a family whose contrasting spending attitudes lead to a surprising revelation. It was a bright Saturday morning when Jenna and Mike, a couple in their early 30s, decided to go shopping for a new couch. Jenna, a self-proclaimed tightwad, had always been cautious with money. She meticulously planned her purchases, hunting for deals, and was hesitant to spend on non-essentials. Mike, on the other hand, leaned more towards being a spendthrift. He viewed money as a tool to enjoy life, not something to hoard. As they walked through the store, Jenna's eyes were set on a basic, durable couch with a reasonable price tag. It's practical, she thought, mentally calculating how much they'd save by choosing the cheaper option. Mike, however, was drawn to a plush, more expensive model that promised comfort and luxury. "We deserve this," he argued, "after all the hard work we do." As they debated, it became clear that their financial philosophies were miles apart. Jenna's frugality clashed with Mike's desire to indulge, leading to tension that lingered even after they left the store, empty-handed. This situation is a prime example of how differences in financial habits can create friction in relationships. As the book notes, partners often get to observe each other's individual financial decisions, and this can influence purchases without even knowing they have had an influence. Jenna and Mike's differing attitudes toward money were influencing not just their spending, but their entire relationship dynamic. Several weeks later, they decided to revisit the topic, hoping to find a middle ground. Inspired by a friend's suggestion, they attended a financial planning workshop designed for couples. The workshop leader shared various techniques for managing joint finances, encouraging open dialogue about each partner's values and fears around money. Jenna expressed her anxiety about future financial security, while Mike admitted his desire to enjoy their earnings while they were still young. The facilitator suggested a compromise, setting aside a fun money budget for Mike while maintaining a savings plan that satisfied Jenna's concerns. The couple left the workshop with a newfound understanding. They realized that it wasn't about who was right or wrong, but about respecting each other's financial mindset. This compromise didn't completely dissolve their financial tensions, but it gave them a framework to navigate future decisions, a small but significant step toward harmony. Meanwhile, across town, Claire, a successful lawyer in her late 40s, was experiencing a different kind of financial tension. Unlike Jenna, Claire had no trouble spending money. Her high income meant she could afford a lifestyle that many envied: luxurious vacations, designer clothes, and frequent dining at upscale restaurants. Yet, Claire found herself feeling unexpectedly guilty after these splurges. On a particular evening, after treating herself to an expensive dinner alone, she sat in her car, feeling a knot in her stomach. Why do I feel this way? She wondered. Claire had grown up in a working-class family, where every penny was counted and savings were a necessity, not an option. Her parents had ingrained in her the importance of financial security and the dangers of frivolous spending. As she became more successful, Claire often battled a sense of guilt whenever she indulged. I thought paying off my loans would be amazing relief, and that I would be elated, she confided in a friend. And it is, but it isn't. I feel a little mad, like somehow I was tricked. This emotional tug-of-war highlighted how our upbringing and early experiences with money can continue to influence us long after our financial situations have changed. To cope, Claire started seeing a financial therapist who helped her explore the deeper emotions tied to her spending habits. Through their sessions, Claire realized that her guilt wasn't about the money spent, but rather an internal conflict between her current reality and the values she was raised with. This realization didn't instantly change her feelings, but it gave her the clarity to make peace with her choices. She began setting aside a portion of her income for guilt-free indulgences and invested the rest in causes she cared about, finding a balance that aligned with her new understanding of wealth and satisfaction. Not far from Claire's office, the Nguyen family faced their own unique struggle with money. Married for nearly 2 decades, they had learned to live with their financial differences, or so they thought. Helen, the wife, was a disciplined saver, while her husband, Tom, was a spontaneous spender. Helen meticulously managed the household budget, saving receipts and tracking every expense in a spreadsheet. Tom, however, believed in living for today and often made purchases without consulting Helen. The tension reached a boiling point one summer when Tom decided to buy a brand new sports car without discussing it with Helen first. It was a good deal, he argued when confronted, but Helen was furious. She felt betrayed, not just because of the expense, but because Tom's decision seemed to undermine their shared financial goals. "You always do this," she fumed. "Act first and think later." Determined to bridge the gap, Helen suggested they sit down with a financial advisor to get an objective perspective. During the meeting, Tom was surprised to learn just how much stress his spending was causing Helen. She admitted to feeling like she was always cleaning up his financial messes, and it was exhausting. The advisor recommended they both take a money personality quiz to better understand their habits and motivations. The results were eye-opening. For the first time, Tom realized that his spending was not just about enjoying life, but also about a deep-seated fear of missing out, a fear that stemmed from growing up in a financially unstable home. Helen, on the other hand, understood that her saving wasn't just about security, but also about control, a way to manage her anxiety about an uncertain future. This newfound awareness didn't solve all their problems, but it gave them a common ground from which to start. These stories illustrate the complex interplay between our financial habits, emotional well-being, and relationship dynamics. Our attitudes toward money, shaped by past experiences, current realities, and future uncertainties, deeply influence how we interact with those closest to us. Whether we are aware of it or not, our financial decisions can carry emotional weight, affecting not just our wallets, but our personal connections. As the editor of Hardly, by understanding these nuances, we can better navigate our own financial journeys, finding a balance that respects both our past and our potential future. As we've seen, the tension between saving and spending can shape not only our financial well-being, but also our relationships and emotional health. This theme is further illustrated in the story of Paul and Emily, a married couple approaching retirement. Paul, a former tightwad, had spent most of his life diligently saving every penny. He avoided indulgences and kept a strict budget, believing that financial security would bring peace. Emily, his wife, was the opposite, a natural spendthrift who enjoyed spontaneous purchases and travel. As they neared retirement, Paul wanted to continue his frugal habits to ensure their savings lasted, while Emily felt it was finally time to enjoy the fruits of their labor. One day, after a heated argument about whether to splurge on a long-desired trip to Europe, Paul had a change of heart. He realized that his relentless focus on saving had caused him to miss out on memorable experiences. In a surprising twist, he booked the trip as a surprise for Emily, marking a significant shift in his attitude toward spending. This act not only strengthened their bond, but also highlighted how our financial habits can evolve and adapt over time. This story, like those before it, underscores the profound impact our relationship with money has on our lives. Whether we lean towards saving or spending, understanding and balancing these tendencies can lead to more harmonious relationships and greater personal fulfillment. As the editor of Hardly, by recognizing these dynamics, we can make more informed choices that align with both our emotional and financial goals.